Pop quiz. How can you tell that a party is in complete disarray? When they don't trust their own insiders and force them to sign non-disclosure agreements before they're allowed to enter closed-door meetings to try to deal with the various disasters plaguing them. That is your Democrat National Committee and what they're having to do today, according to an article we have over at conservativeplaylist.com. This was exclusive reporting from Axios. I don't like Axios, so we rewrote it with a little bit more clarity, we'll say. DNC demands NDAs from party insiders as debt mounts and midterm disaster looms. It shouldn't be like this, okay? This is a midterm in which the Republicans have control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. Now, for those who maybe you didn't know this, for the past 4 decades, a party in power, okay, they get 2 years. That's it. That's how it's always been for a very long time. You know, the first 2 years of a 4-year term, oftentimes even the 8-year term, the party in control will have control over the House, the Senate, and the White House. It happened. It's happening now. Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. It happened during the first 2 years of the Auto Pen administration. It happened during the first 2 years of President Trump's first administration. It happened during the first 2 years of Obama's administration, which is how we got Obamacare. Don't get me started. George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, go all the way back. You got to get back to Lincoln, not Lincoln, not that far. Nixon. I think Nixon was the last one who didn't have control. It might have actually been even before him. But point being is it's been a long time, okay? A lot of you weren't alive the last time that a party had control of the Senate, the House, and the White House for more than 2 years at a time. So, midterms, generally speaking, are a bloodbath for whichever party is in charge. So, Democrats should be doing great, right? No, they're not. They're having massive challenges. They know it. They're feeling the pressure, and now they're scared. They don't want information leaking. The Democratic National Committee is circling the wagons with non-disclosure agreements as its financial house of cards teeters ahead of the 2026 midterms. In a telling break from normal practice, DNC officers were asked to sign NDAs before a closed-door meeting on the party's dire money situation, exposing deep anxiety at the top of a party already reeling from electoral defeats and donor fatigue, and of course, the Democrat Socialists of America, which are taking over. There's that. This is not the mark of a confident political machine with nearly $15 million in cash, but over $18 million in debt. The DNC lags catastrophically behind the Republican National Committee, which boasts $125 million on hand and zero debt. The contrast could not be starker. One party manages resources with discipline and donor enthusiasm. The other resorts to secrecy to manage embarrassment. I don't know if I would categorize the GOP as managing their resources with discipline and donor enthusiasm. They're doing better, obviously, than the Democrats, but I think that they often waste money where it doesn't need to be wasted. It's been a little bit better. Okay, I'll admit that. The last 2.5 years have been better than they were before. Okay, that's enough about that. Maybe a little longer. We'll say 3 years. 3 years of pretty decent calls. I still don't like them, but they are managing their money well. DNC Chair Ken Martin has faced mounting internal criticism over leadership and fundraising failures. His defensive posture, including public insistence that spending rather than raising is the real story, which nobody's buying, rings hollow when stacked against reality. Democrats are not merely trailing, they are structurally disadvantaged as a Supreme Court ruling expands coordinated spending opportunities that overwhelmingly favor the better-funded GOP. The NDA episode underscores a broader pattern of opacity and mismanagement. High-ranking party officials, not typical staff bound by routine confidentiality, were pressed to stay silent about discussions that should concern every Democrat worried about the party's viability. Now, I want you to understand why this is so dang important. Okay, these closed-door meetings, generally speaking, yes, they do talk about some bad stuff, but they also is supposed to build enthusiasm because the people that go to these meetings are usually the best fundraisers for the party. So when you're telling these guys, these fundraisers, these guys that are going out there to try to raise money for the DNC, and you're slapping an NDA on them, telling them not to say anything that's being discussed here, that's a very bad sign, folks. That's a horrible sign. I know, oh, they're just signing a piece of paper. What's the big deal? This is a huge deal. Nobody's going to report it. I'm surprised Axios even reported it. I think they only reported it because they got the scoop. But otherwise, you're not going to see this on CNN. You're probably not even going to see it on Fox News. But this is a bombshell. Okay? It really tells a story of a party that is absolutely terrified. They would never do this under any normal circumstance. And like I said, the Democrat Socialists of America really, truly do have them spooked. It's not just about winning primaries in deep blue areas. That's bad enough for the Democrat Party. But what's worse is that they don't know who they can trust. They know that their insiders, some of them, are cutting deals. When you have people like Kamala Harris trying to court Zohran Mamdani, when you have others within the party secretly meeting with the DSA, you've got people like Rahm Emanuel, who's he's as establishment as it gets within the DNC, and he's allegedly, I don't want to, actually I'm not even supposed to know about this, so I probably shouldn't say anything. So I won't pretend, scratch Rahm Emanuel from the record. I didn't mention him. I have heard some things, but again, unconfirmed, and I don't like spreading rumors. I'm not one of those guys. Okay, with that said, this is still horrible for the Democrats. Really bad news. And they're going to put on a happy face. They're going to smile and say, oh, it's not so bad. They're going to talk about being gung-ho and excited and, oh, Trump is bad, Trump is bad, Trump is bad. But the real problem they're having is internal. And it's not just the DSA either. And it's not just the insiders that are trying to cut deals with the DSA. They're looking around and they're realizing they don't have a message. The message should be fully formed and in full effect by now. But instead, they're still they're still stuck on, oh, it's just all, they hate Trump so much that they're unwilling or unable to break free from that being their talking point. I think the Iran war, if there was any silver lining to the Iran war, it's that if things do turn to the positive here in the next couple of months, then the Democrats will be reeling, because that's all they got right now. Okay, all they've got is, oh, look at your gas prices, look at your food prices, look at affordability, look at, oh. They're turning away from the Jews. They're hardcore turning away from the Jews right now because of the demands of the DSA. They're doing everything they can to pull away from the old guard of Chuck Schumer. They already got Nancy Pelosi finally to leave. Chuck Schumer is on his way out. This is a party that's in trouble. Now, generally, I don't like to think along the lines of, I was that guy, that naysayer back in 2022 when everybody was talking about a red tsunami, and I'm like, guys, no, that's not coming. It's not going to come the way that you guys are thinking. And yet, everybody was like, oh my gosh, look at the polling. Look at the polls. It's going to be a bloodbath. Republicans are going to take over everything. And it didn't happen. I mean, we got some wins out of it, but definitely not what we were told was going to happen. But seeing what the RNC is doing, which again, it's performing better, not just financially, just in general, they're doing a better job than they had been doing for decades. These last 3 years have been good for the RNC. I'm still not willing to support them. Still wouldn't send them a penny. Still don't trust them, but they are doing a better job. Republican candidates doing a better job. DSA dragging down the Democrat Party, positive. I'm not saying that I'm expecting, I'm not ready to make predictions that the Republicans can maintain control of the House and the Senate during these midterm elections, even make gains in state legislatures, in governorships. I'm not ready to say that yet, but I am feeling better than I have in a long time about the Republican prospects for the midterms.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.